In the reports, it was detailed how Josh Duggar molested his sisters when they were 5 to 11 years old, while he was a teenager. The ladies asserted that they had emotional distress as a result of the report's disclosure. They initiated legal action in 2017 and have only just begun to see results. Everything has finally ended, though. It was reported that the sisters' complaint was rejected due to a lack of proof. Plaintiffs have failed to provide any evidence of direct interference or reasonable proof, according to U.S. District Judge Timothy L. Brooks. Because of this, the whole claim should be rejected. No one from the Duggar family spoke out or commented when the story surfaced on Wednesday. However, a Duggar sister has finally spoken up. Regarding the case that was dropped, what is Jill Dillard's opinion? A day following the dismissal of her case, on Thursday, February 10th, Jill Dillard made her statement. The Duggar daughter and her husband, Derek Dillard, released a joint statement in a recent blog post. What transpired, their feelings over the latest case development, and their plans moving forward are all laid out in the blog post. It is now abundantly evident, according to the article, that the reports were leaked unlawfully. This is completely unacceptable, and we sincerely hope that it never occurs to anyone else. Continuing, she describes how victims are blamed, shamed, and bullied into silence. Here is Jill Dillard's complete statement for your perusal. Jill also informed her followers on Instagram that she has released a statement, and she invited them to read it on her blog. So, after hearing Jill Dillard's comments, what are your thoughts on the matter? Do you approve of her standing up for herself and speaking her mind? Jill Dillard, who was on 19 Kids and Counting, has now spoken up about her privacy case, which she had for months and which the media had heavily covered. There was a lot of buzz when word got out about the lawsuit she had filed against several people and groups. Now we get to hear Jill's honest thoughts and feelings regarding the court's decision to dismiss the case, as well as her personal journey and the effects of the case on her life. Explore the reasons for the legal action, Jill Dillard's reaction to it, and the broader consequences for the Dillard family, the media, and their followers in this 1,000-word essay. We'll also look at the reasons behind the dropped privacy case. Why was there a legal fight over the privacy lawsuit? The case that has captivated fans and the media should be reviewed before we get to Jill's reaction. The Dillards, Jill and Derek, took legal action, claiming that various people and organizations had violated their right to privacy. The plaintiffs in the 2020 lawsuit claimed that their reputation and mental health had taken a hit due to the unauthorized disclosure of sensitive personal information. The Dillards' prominent upbringing on the hit TLC show 19 Kids and Counting had already brought them into the public eye. Even after the show was canceled because of all the controversies involving Josh Duggar, her brother, the Duggar family continued to be in the spotlight. The public was still tremendously interested in Jill and Derek's lives, even though they tried to avoid it in various ways. They felt like their privacy was being violated all the time. A number of complaints gave rise to the privacy case, including the following: the disclosure of private information, the making of unapproved recordings, and the release of sensitive data on Jill's private life. Jill had revealed in a very vulnerable time that certain news organizations were profiting from her family's story without care for their safety or privacy. The couple's first goal in pursuing legal action was to recover some measure of privacy and ensure that the perpetrators of the breaches were held liable. But in 2021, the case was finally dropped, even though Jill and Derek were dead set on it. A lot of people are wondering what this ruling means since the court system decided there wasn't enough proof to keep suing. Jill's reaction to the fire. Her words on the subject. Jill Dillard has spoken publicly about her feelings on the dismissal of the case. Jill spoke about how she felt about the case and its dismissal in an emotional statement that she shared on social media and in interviews. 1. Recognizing the impact on emotions. Both Jill and Derek had been emotionally drained by the legal struggle, Jill confessed. Adding, "It was exhausting and incredibly difficult," she stated in her statement. Nobody ever gets ready to have their private lives exposed in such a public light and to have their every action watched. We anticipated that this litigation would be difficult, but we thought that it would help us establish some limits. No one ever asked Jill to create a show out of her family's hardships, she said, but they had to fight for what was right. She was profoundly affected by the emotional and psychological strain of dealing with the continual favorable and negative treatment in the media. Regardless, she stressed the significance of asserting one's right to privacy and dignity. 2. Dissatisfaction with the termination. It was impossible for Jill to suppress her displeasure at the court's ruling, even though she acknowledged its rationale. We really believed in the cause we were fighting for, according to her. The point we were trying to make was that you are not helpless when other people treat you like a commodity. The system's decision that your rights aren't sufficient to pursue legal action is discouraging, especially when the system is designed to protect individuals. Additionally, she disclosed that, despite their hopes for a better resolution, their disagreement did not conclude with the ruling. We may have lost this case, but it doesn't mean the fight is over, according to her. We've learned valuable lessons through this experience, and we know how to protect ourselves better moving forward. Step 3. Considering what lies ahead. Jill said that she and Derek would carry on regardless of the setback. Keeping the past in the past is not our intention, she said. Our family's closeness has been strengthened by this challenging journey. Presently, our attention is directed towards our future, to our loved ones, our religion, and the possibilities that lie ahead. Jill had a very moving moment when she thought about how the lawsuit had shown her the immense support she received from her fans. The outpouring of love from people who truly care about us has been overwhelming, according to her. It gives us hope and helps us feel like we're not alone in this. Her current priorities include creating a secure and loving home for her children and establishing a prosperous future for her family. Although the media attention had been challenging, Jill said it had inspired her to assist others who were going through the same things she had, battling for privacy in the face of intense public scrutiny. Concerning the relationship between fame and privacy, Jill Dillard's lawsuit and dismissal bring up pertinent issues. Living in the spotlight has been both an advantage and a burden for the Dillard family since their meteor climb to popularity on 19 Kids and Counting. Famous people and popular figures nowadays are under continual scrutiny, frequently to their harm, due to the proliferation of social media and the round-the-clock news cycle. Jill and Derek's choice to distance themselves from the public eye following their appearance on Counting On was an effort to regain some privacy. Just because you step away from the spotlight doesn't mean the media can't find you. Jill's lawsuit proved that. Despite their best efforts, the couple continued to be the subject of unwarranted attention and the disclosure of private information. The fact that the court rejected their privacy claim shows how complicated it is to deal with legal institutions that don't always deal with questions of personal limits for famous people. More broadly, the need for change in the application of privacy laws to public individuals is highlighted by Jill's complaint. The delicate balance between individual liberties and the public good is illustrated by Jill's story, which is representative of the difficulties many famous people encounter in preserving their private. In the future, Jill Dillard will continue to fight for the right to personal space and limits. Despite the dismissal of the lawsuit, she will not rest until she has ensured the safety of her family. According to Jill's latest remarks, she might keep using her position to talk about how important it is to respect people's personal space and privacy. We've learned a lot from this experience, and while it wasn't the outcome we had hoped for, it shaped the way we move forward, said Jill. We're going to keep focusing on our family, our faith, and advocating for what's right. Although Jill and Derek are still very much involved in their personal lives, they have made it known that they will not back down from fighting for what is right, whether it's in court or in their own lives. Their optimism and resilience have been unshaken by the hardships they've endured.